All right, guys, I wanted to talk to you like generally about flipping because I've noticed through a lot of the videos that I posted and some of the TikTok stuff I posted out there that I'm getting a lot of people that just really don't understand, or they even think it's like scamming or scheming or something, and it's not. It's totally 100% legit. If your thinking is that way, then you're probably trapped in the machine. You're probably stuck in the system. And so that's kind of why I want to talk about the system, what it is, what it's designed to do, how you have to change your thinking in order to succeed at this kind of business. And once you do that, you'll be set free from that systematic lifestyle. And so what I mean by the system is it's all planned out for you, right? They want you to go to school. They teach you how to think, how to act, how to dress, how to walk, how to talk. And as long as you can follow all of those rules, you'll be able to be a successful member of society within that systematic lifestyle, right? You can go get a job with your degree. You can work your way up into that degree field, and you can continue to make a little bit more money. They'll keep moving the crust from you, though. And ultimately, you'll be enslaved as a drone your entire life, working for somebody else to make them rich. And you'll never, ever have the opportunity to create generational wealth for yourself. But if you have the idea or the goal of creating generational wealth for yourself, then this systematic lifestyle really never, ever was an option to you. And for some more things that are part of that systematic lifestyle are getting settled down and married as soon as possible, buying a house as soon as possible, because what that house does is it enslaves you to a mortgage payment and makes sure that you have to go to work for somebody else every day, because you can't hardly not know where your next dollar is coming from if you have a mortgage payment, right? So you have to bite the bullet and go work for somebody else. So do not rush to get yourself into that situation. Be patient, it'll be fine. So that's what I mean about systematic lifestyle and systematic thinking. You have to break that mold, get yourself out of the machine, and start thinking a little bit differently. You have to stop thinking of companies and businesses as above you, and you have to be, everyone's on an even playing field. And so what you have to do to break this mold, the first step is to think of yourself, like your individual self, as an actual business, right? Because we are. That's what we are. Everything in our life is profit and loss, right? Like, is when it comes financially, that is. And if you don't think that way, you're probably taking a loss on some level, right? And so you have to think of yourself as a business and always think of spending versus income, right? Like that has to be the first basic level of a business, is what's our spending versus our income. And so get that right? Budget yourself, do whatever you have to do, get that right, and understand what you have to do in order to be profitable for yourself. Now, part 2 of treating yourself like a business. You have to think this way, and it's a mindset. Because I noticed a lot of people comment on my posts and on the TikTok stuff, especially because they're youngsters, and they're like, isn't that scamming? How could you rip that guy off? You paid one price and you charged him another. And the price that I'm showing that I bought it for is a price from like TJ Maxx or Marshall's. Why do they get to decide what the actual fair market price of something is? That's not what the fair market price of something is. The fair market price of something is the dollar amount that somebody would buy. So if they have it for less, that means they sold it for less than it was actually worth. And so why is it okay for a corporation or company, like let's say Walmart, what do you think they are doing when they sell you a product off their shelf into your hands? Like say they sold you a product for $20. Do you think Walmart paid $20 for that item? Or do you think they bought it for much less and they're charging you a higher fee so that they can profit in between? So why is Walmart more qualified? Because if you go up the chain at Walmart, eventually you get to one guy, and it's a Walton. I don't know which Walton it is right now, but it's one of them. You get to a single guy, and he's the guy, right? So why is that Walton guy more important than me, right? Like, why is he okay to buy something for one price and resell it for another, but I'm not? It's not. That's the way every business works. If I'm ripping somebody off, or if I'm overcharging somebody, then everyone in the entire commerce world is, because they're charging more than what they bought the item for, right? And so that's the same concept. That's called business. That's called buying low, selling high. You do the same thing in the stock market. You do the same thing anywhere you go, hopefully. If you're smart, that's the way you would treat it. So you have to understand that you're on even level with any of these other companies, that they aren't more special than you, and that you have just as much of a right to buy something for low price and sell it for high. And the price that you bought it for doesn't dictate its value. The price that somebody is willing to pay for it dictates the value. So the value of everything is the highest price that somebody's willing to pay for it, or the mean price, the average price, because some people do overpay for things. But that's the whole name of the game, right? That's no different than, and this goes way back. I said in my first video, arbitrage is buying, sometimes it could be regional arbitrage. Like, for instance, you saw me sell the UCF gloves, right? And I sold those to a guy that lives in Tampa. He could go to 1,000 TJ Maxx's right now in the Tampa area, in Florida, in Central Florida, UCF. He could go to 1,000 different TJ Maxx's in Central Florida, where that item is going to be hot, and that item originally sold for $120, and it's going to be completely sold out of every Dick's Sporting Goods. Wherever that originally hit the racks, it's going to be completely sold out at $120 in that area. But in Central PA, I have one, right? And in Central PA, people didn't want it as much. And in Central PA, I was able to find one for $5.99. So now I'm able to leverage that and sell it to somebody that wants one that would have paid $120 in Central Florida where they sold out, and now he's buying it for $75. He's getting a $50 deal, and he still gets one. And I profit too. So everyone wins there. This guy pays $50 less than he should have and he gets to buy one way after they sold out, and I get to profit a little bit off of it. And so that's no different than what Walmart would have done to somebody. That's no different than what Amazon or any other company that's buying for one price and selling for another would do. Any company that's not buying for a low price and selling for higher is going to go out of business. So they could just skip that business plan. It's never going to work. So that is what I'm saying by changing your mindset, changing the way you think about things, and always thinking how much value versus how much is exiting my pocket versus how much value I'm getting on this item, right? And so you should think of that for every single decision, every purchase you make, everything. Is this going to provide value over the dollar amount? Now, obviously, things that you have to not factor in for that are like food, clothing, shelter, transportation. You need those. Do you need the best version of all of those? No, but you do need some basic level of all of those. So I can't really help you there, but when it comes to that, you have to change your mindset, get out of the systematic way of thinking. Do not be enslaved to this way of thinking. Do not think that like you are just the consumer and everyone else is the producer and the seller, right? Because that type of thinking is why you think that TJ Maxx or Walmart is the deciding factor on what something's worth. They get to set the price point, and anyone that charges more than them is ripping somebody off. That's just not true. That's completely backwards thinking. That's broke thinking, and that's why you aren't able to understand flipping, and that's why you haven't been able to be successful at it yet. So change the way you think, change the way you approach this, and get out of the systematic way of life, and you'll be one step closer to being a successful flipper. All right, hope you enjoyed. Take it easy.